Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Kathy Hart. I'm with the Renaissance Society at Sac State. And today we are very fortunate to have one of our partner organizations join us. We're going to have Danyle Lee. She goes by Danny from a caring community. It's ACC. It's a Caring Community Senior Services, which is a local nonprofit. They're dedicated to promote the general welfare and enhance the quality of life for the community by identifying, developing, and providing culturally sensitive health and social services for older adults. So Danny is the ACC Program Manager, and she'll give us an overview presentation of the types of services and the programs available for older adults in the greater Sacramento area. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Danny. And if you want to go ahead and do a little intro and then do your screen share, we are set to go.
Sure. Thank you, Kathy, for the introduction. So like she said, my name is Danyle Lee, and I am a program manager here at ACC Senior Services. And so, I don't know where you guys are located, but we're essentially in the Pocket Greenhaven area of Sacramento. So right off of I-5, off of Florin Road, to give you a better idea. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And while I'm doing that, I also encourage you to feel free to type questions into the chat box as you think of it. I'm a big proponent of writing the questions down as you think of it, because at the end of presentations, I think a lot of people forget their questions by the end of it. So I'll go ahead and address them at the end, and then we can talk also when you unmute yourself as well. My full title is Lifelong Learning and Wellness Program Manager. So I'll explain a little bit about that later down the line. But so ACC actually, when we first started, it stood for the Asian Community Center. And so I'll talk a little more about that history. But now we have in recent years changed to make it a community of caring. And so that's to make it very clear that we serve people of all backgrounds and all abilities. And so senior services means for seniors and their family members. So this is a picture of our Mahjong Club, so part of them. And these are 4 couples of mothers and daughters. And so the daughters bring their mothers 2 times a week to Mahjong Club. And it's just really sweet that we have different generations of seniors coming to the facility and playing. And, really since the pandemic, most of them have said that there isn't really much for them to do, and they really look forward to this outing. Some of them are Japanese or Chinese speaking, so they can speak that language with the club. And they get really serious sometimes in the club. One time we were asking someone for their lemon bar recipe, and she said, she'll give it to you later. Let's play Mahjong. Let's play Mahjong. So it's just a really fun place for people to meet, and they feel happy that we do it very safely and feel comfortable bringing them to us. Okay, so I just want to start out with this sort of staggering statistic. 60% of those 50 to 64 years of age have at least one chronic disease. Now that number really stood out to me for obvious reasons, but that's just something that we really want to address at ACC with several of our different services. But so there's a lot of different trends in the US for aging that I also want to mention before going forward. So 47.8 million people in the 65 and older age group. So that is in 2015. So that number has even increased since then. And it's projected that by 2035, that number is expected to reach 78 million. So that just means there are more and more older adults that increasing every year. Also, Americans living with Alzheimer's disease, that's projected to increase from 5.7 to 14 million by 2050. And there's also been a sharp increase in long-term care needs and Social Security and Medicare expenditure. So these are just some of the reasons that we are so focused on providing services specifically for this population. And as you know, there are a lot of risk factors that are especially affect older adults. There is an increase in health problems and conditions, chronic pain, side effects from medications, social isolation and exclusion, losses in things like relationships, their self-worth, independence, physical inactivity, and increase in falls and frailty. So, and this is just a short version of the list. I'm sure a lot of you can probably mention some others as well, but the ACC hopes to address these risk factors to increase the likelihood of active and healthy aging. Then there's also the portion of COVID-19. It felt like, you know, we couldn't catch a break here. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic not only increases social isolation and loneliness in older adults, but also reduced the physical activity in people over 65. And also there were some hate incidents that happened along with that rise. And so, you know, this was already a problem in the senior community. And so it was just elevated and amplified with the pandemic. So studies showed that 28% of older adults felt worse anxiety or worry during the pandemic. And then 19% of them also felt more depression or sadness. And so along with this, you know, of course, we're over Zoom, you know, this is a wonderful way for us to still meet and do the things that we want to do. But there's a large portion of seniors, whether it be, you know, the generation that's 80 and over, or people that just don't feel like they have the ability with technology. There's that extra layer of barrier that has added to the isolation and feeling left out. And so really being socially connected is related to the risk for premature death. So we're really hoping to increase that social connection with our services. And so, like Kathy mentioned, this is our mission. Our mission is to promote the general welfare and enhance the quality of life for our community by identifying, developing, and providing culturally sensitive health and social services for older adults. And our vision is to create an array of services to help older adults sustain their independence and lifestyle. And so I'll go into some of our services a little bit later. So like I said, ACC used to stand for the Asian Community Center. So this little location is actually one of the visionaries' homes. It was on T Street downtown, and that's where they started back in 1972 when they were founded. And so it was actually founded out of activism. So there was a group of Chinese and Japanese Americans that gathered together to start ACC. And the goal was to provide an improvement in quality of life for elders in need of convalescent care and a place to get together. And so, for example, you know, when they were thinking about the vision for ACC, when they would look at nursing homes, there weren't many that served rice on the menu. And that just seems like a very simple thing, but that's one of the examples of certain services that were maybe not targeted for Asian Americans, especially elders, and especially with that community sense that a lot of Asian Americans feel. And so this is a little breakdown of our whole organization. We have our Care Center, which is a skilled nursing facility. Greenhaven Terrace, which is assisted and independent living, and they're actually right across the street from me. I can just walk right over there. Maple Tree Village, or MTV, that is memory care and assisted living. Meals on Wheels by ACC, which I think a lot of you may have heard in the Sacramento area. There's several different organizations that run it. And then our last but not least, home and community-based programs. So that's where I live. We have 4 different facilities along with the Meals on Wheels building. And in our facility where I'm at right now is our community center where we have these programs running. And so, just as we go along here, some of you may not live very close to Sacramento. You might be from the outside area, but whether or not you live close by where you can come to our facility, I think this is a good opportunity for you to see the types of things that our facility offers. So that maybe there's other facilities in your area that offer these same services, or what to look for. And a lot of people don't even know to ask for these types of services. Okay, so I'm going to start with the ACC Care Center. So in 1983, a capital campaign went underway to build a nursing home. And so ACC was the first nonprofit to operate a county licensed bingo parlor to raise funds for this. So bingo is huge, I think, in general in the senior community, but it really has a lot to do with the history of ACC. We just started up bingo again in person and online, and man, people love it. I have never actually played in a bingo hall before, but it is so incredible. I don't know if you guys have seen, they have so many different cards out and some of these seniors can do so many cards at one time. It's a skill for sure. So anyways, it first was created as the Asian Community Nursing Home. And today it has 27 short stay beds for rehabilitation and 72 long stay beds for specialized nursing. And some of the things that they offer are also specialized dietary services, therapy, multicultural activities. And the big thing that we are recognized for in the community is compassionate and quality care that also recognizes ethnic diversity. The next facility is ACC's Greenhaven Terrace, or we call it GT. And so it is an independent living community with 146 apartments. And this includes a fully equipped kitchen, walk-in closets, private patios, access to a pool, fitness room, library, and computer room. And then in 2014, we also had a vision of a continuum of care. So in the same building, we have 24 units of assisted living within the Greenhaven Terrace building. And so in that section, the assisted living residents receive individualized assistance that they need. And so that's on one of the levels at Greenhaven Terrace. And so in some of these pictures, you can see some of our music clubs will go over to Greenhaven Terrace and do sing-alongs and play music with them. They have art classes. And we also, in the past, have had health fairs, and we're hoping to do that this coming year as well in person. Our other facility is ACC's Maple Tree Village. And so this is our newest one. The facility opened in January of 2020. And what else happened in 2020? Oh my gosh, it was awful timing. But luckily we've recovered from that, and we were able to fill most of the facility. And so it's really a state-of-the-art design. It focuses on accessibility, minimizes safety barriers around your regular traditional home, and then also encourages social engagement. And something also in this facility that's a newer approach, they have something called the Best Friends approach. And so the Best Friends approach is something that we have to address dementia care. And so this includes knowing the basic rights of someone with dementia care, understanding what it's like, knowing that person's story, and also including meaningful engagement throughout the day. So it's a really, really cool and innovative approach. And, it's just, we're really excited about Maple Tree Village, and a lot of people are on the wait list now for it, just knowing that there's a place for them to go into assisted living in case they need it. So just to be prepared. We have Meals on Wheels by ACC. So that one is the county's senior nutrition program under a contract with Area Agency on Aging. And so this is actually a great opportunity for ACC. We serve the county-wide senior lunch program. And when the County of Sacramento decided to give up the sponsorship of the program, we were able to take over that program, and it's been wonderful. And actually in 2018, ACC has delivered its 4 millionth meal. And so it's a really successful and wonderful program. A lot of people in our area have really enjoyed the new food that they have. And, they're really always looking to improve the quality.
Danny, we do have a couple of questions in chat about Meals on Wheels. If you want to take a quick look, or I don't know if you want to wait till the end.
Sure. Let's see. I can address those too. Yes, and what I can also do is some of the very specific Meals on Wheels questions I can send over to the Meals on Wheels administrators too to address them as well. And so because some of them I think would be better addressed by them. So I'll go to the end and answer all of these, and some of them I'll follow up with people on.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then the last section here that I'll talk about is the home and community-based programs. And so that's where I live. We all of the programs here at the community center. So the first is the Lifelong Learning and Wellness Program, and that is our classes and clubs. And so that would include the in-person classes and now online classes. We also have caregiver support services, utilities assistance, the Senior Community Service and Employment Program, or otherwise known as CSEP, our rides program, and our newly created Senior Escort program. And so the first thing I want to mention too is that a lot of people ask if our programs are just for residents at ACC, and no, it's generally mostly the general community. And so anybody can really come to the facility and use all of our programs. So the Lifelong Learning and Wellness Program. So I just want to explain some of the pictures that we have here. So the top left-hand corner is one of the educational classes that we had before the pandemic. And what a nice array to see everyone with no masks, and hopefully we can get back to that. But in the more recent years, we've been able to adapt and have people still meet safely. And so, like I said, we have bingo going on in person. So in this middle picture, we have people playing bingo on one side, and then the other half is our studio where we're filming the bingo so people can play at home. And so I don't know also if you can see that the little picture of the volunteers in the back, they have bingo on their head, on their hats. It spells out bingo with them. So they try to make it really fun. People love it. It's free. People donate prizes for bingo. It's been really fun. It happens every Friday at 3 o'clock. But it's just one of the wonderful stories that happened was someone won bingo on Zoom. And she actually was from another state, and she said that she was bedbound. And so she was really happy that we had this service so she can participate. Of course, we can't really mail her the gifts. I mean, the gifts are a couple dollars each, but she just says she really was happy that we had this for people like her. And one of the volunteers in there, she said, man, sometimes volunteering can feel so tedious and I wonder why I do it, but it's stories like that that remind me why I give my time and volunteer here. So I thought that was really, a really sweet thing. And then our top right-hand corner, we have Miss Kathy Hart there in the very picture in the back. She is doing a watercolor class here, and she actually has another one coming up next week. But we had a lovely group of women that came to do the watercolor in the class with her. And if you can see the screen there, we also have people over Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook Live. And at the bottom here are some of the other classes and the music performances that we've had as well. So we have a full studio setup. And in the bottom right-hand corner is our aqua aerobics class. And that is a picture of our Greenhaven Terrace pool. And I went out there for the first time to see that class, and man, I wish I could have jumped in this summer. It was so nice, and people loved that class. So just a wide variety of things in that, including language classes, computer and cell phone help, cooking demonstration, support group. So we have caregiver support group and a Parkinson's support group. So, and several different social clubs. But so the main thing that we take away from the LLWP program is that it's meant to promote fitness and social well-being. And I mentioned all those health risk factors before, but really, you know, increasing the social engagement in person is going to be our goal going forward the rest of this year and into next year, because that's what we're really missing in the community. So next we have our caregiver support program. So this is just a fact that I was actually unaware of before I started working here, but 34.2 million Americans provided unpaid care to an adult 50 or older in 2015, according to AARP. Now, that refers to a lot to family caregivers. So, you know, a lot of us probably know someone who takes care of their mother or their father, or even children, you know, that need their help. And a lot of them don't know about caregiver services. And so that number is huge. So this is a really needed program. So the Bridge to Healthy Families program is a part of caregiver support, and it seeks to improve access to comprehensive support services for family caregivers and care receivers. And then we also have something called the Friendly Visitor and In-Home Respite program. So that's where people go into their homes and provide companionship for homebound seniors. And then it gives respite to their caregivers so they can go out and do things and have a break. And then, so these are also some of the different things that our caregiver support program has. And a lot of these things are also online as well. And so that goes to say with a lot of our programs. And so people can participate from a lot of different areas. We also have utility assistance. And so it's otherwise called a Team in Changes, and it's sponsored and funded by the CPUC. And so there's several different things that we do here. I'm a program manager for this program as well. So this provides education and assistance for seniors and individuals that with limited English proficiency or low income seniors. So we have a staff member that speaks both Mandarin and Cantonese, and she'll actually go out to those communities. And we will do education and assistance both in English, like I'll do one presentation in English and she'll do the next one in Chinese. And so that way, you know, we're really hoping to provide help that has a language barrier and also different comprehension barriers too. So for example, when you look at your phone bill and there's all these different charges, a lot of times people don't understand, even who speak English, what those charges mean. So it's really a worthwhile program for us to help seniors save money on their bills. And a lot of times they're getting charged for things that they shouldn't be getting charged for. So we address issues with phone bills, internet, California Lifeline will sign you up for that, PG&E, and billing disputes. And so one of the best things we do, like I was saying, we educate people on different topics. So we'll go to senior living communities. We do presentations over Zoom too, but we'll do scams, emergency, disaster, safety plans, different things. And so, especially for me, providing education on scams has been really close to home. I have an auntie that just recently got scammed out of up to $70,000 about, and that happened within a week. And she is somebody, she's not even 70. She is not somebody you would think is scammable. You know, it can happen to anybody. And so a lot of the seniors are really happy to have that updated information, what to look out for, and just a really important and worthwhile thing to educate on. So CSEP program is our next one. That is our Senior Community Service Employment Program. And so CSEP, it addresses that idea that seniors are not employable at a certain age, right? There's a lot of people that say, oh, they won't know how to use a computer. They won't know how to do this and that. And so this program is the largest federally funded employment and job training program targeted at low-income older adults. And so there's a lot of seniors. I mean, all of our seniors are aging much more these days. And there's a lot of seniors that are still looking to work full time with benefits. And so we actually have on-the-job training at host agencies. So for example, we have several CSEP participants that work here at ACC, and I'll work with them on tips for Excel, on how to use email, on Word, and this training is meant to help them increase their resume and their skills so that way they're more hireable in today's market. And so that's the eligibility there. It's 55 and older and with a lower income in Sacramento County. And so it's really, we're hoping to also help people that are recently out of jail or prison to get job employment. And so this is also a picture of a woman named Diana. She's one of our success stories. She was in the program for about 3 years, and she finally actually got hired at the place that she was being trained at. And so now she's a caseworker for the Sacramento Self-Help Housing. And so she just had a passion to give back to the community as a social worker originally. And so she was really happy to actually get hired by the place that trained her. And that actually happens quite often. And it could be, we've fallen in love with our CSEP participants here too. Then we also have our rides program. So here on the right hand side, you can see a couple pictures. We have a van full of seniors with our driver Lauren in the back. And then at the bottom there is our other driver named Edgar. And Edgar also speaks Tagalog. We have other drivers, they speak Hmong and Spanish and I believe Chinese too, but within ACC, we speak about 23 different languages throughout our whole facility. And so they are a door-to-door shuttle service in 13 different zip code areas within basically a 10-mile radius of where we are at in Pocket Greenhaven area. So door-to-door means that they take somebody from the door to the bus and then from the bus to their location. So that way they make sure that they get there safely and sound. And so this includes different things like grocery store outings, medical appointments, errands, etc. And so, you know, it's just a really good way for seniors to keep their independence. I have one writer that comes to our classes all the time, and she said that, you know, she has a son in the area, but she can't ask him for a ride once a week, twice a week when she wants to go to things. So she feels like she's very independent, being able to have our service and schedule this ride for herself, pay for it herself, and she's able to get around without asking for help and feeling, you know, indebted to their family. And this is our newly created senior escort program. It is not how it sounds. we were first creating the name of this. We talked to a senior about it and she said, oh, no, thank you, I'm married. But it's more of a buddy system. So, so the original origins of this program It was created due to the anti-Asian hate incidents and hate acts that were happening. And so the program is targeted for people who feel unsafe or uncomfortable alone in public. And so it does not only serve people of Asian descent, it's people of all backgrounds. And so seniors who just want to, want that company if they're going alone to a place. And so there's actually different issues, though, that we have found that a lot of people have really liked the service for. So isolation and loneliness are a huge one. We've had a participant call and say, my husband has passed away, my kids have moved out of state, and I just need somebody to talk to too. And so it's just an added bonus. They'll go out, they'll go for a walk, and they'll be able to have a nice conversation with someone they've never met. And this is it's almost a novel idea, I feel like, after COVID-19. Who just goes for a walk with a stranger anymore for an hour? I don't think many people do. And I think people do feel uncomfortable with it. But, our volunteers have felt very fulfilled by this. They feel wow, this person, they might not have a conversation with someone else this week. And so it's really been wonderful to combat that. And also at the same time, get some physical exercise. I mean, all of us have heard walking is amazing for your health. And then also dependence. So, some of them won't go out without a volunteer going with them. And so it's nice that they can not have to ask their family members again. Same thing with the rides program. Not have to ask their family members for help. So we have volunteers that can go with them to the grocery store and help them push the cart. Or, one of our participants, she is low vision, and so they can help her read the labels. And then again, a lack of physical activity. This is great. I mean, most of our participants like to go for walks 1 to 2 times a week. And so it's just really good for that as well. And so, we really address some of the statistics that happened over the last couple of years. So actually, California has the largest number of reported hate incidences in the last 2 years. So that's over 4,000 incidents. 95% of hate crimes have been directed towards people who walk alone. And so we are directly addressing that statistic. And as you can also probably have seen in the news, a lot of them are seniors. A lot of them are female seniors. And so, it's really important to have this program for people who would like a companion to go with them that's vetted and that they feel safe with. And so also, our volunteers have said that it just really gives them a purpose and meaning, giving back to their community, giving back to their neighbor. And a lot of our volunteers have gained friendships and, call them when it's their birthday and things like that. So it's been really nice to make connections. But like I was saying before, there's this sort of fear, I think, for meeting a stranger and just having a conversation with them. I asked my 2 little cousins there in high school, and I said, hey, do you want to be a volunteer for my program? That you go for walks with seniors? And they were like, oh, what would we talk about? I said, anything. They'd love to hear about your life. You hear about their life, So we're really hoping to partner with high schools, with colleges, to get that gap reduced. There's several generations now with seniors and high schoolers. And so this is actually a picture of one of those partnerings. This is Ella on the left-hand side, and she was a high school senior at McClatchy High School. And on the right-hand side is Jessie Lee. She was actually the first female president of ACC, and she's 89 years old now. She asks for a volunteer to meet her. They walk to a local Tai Chi class, and they take the Tai Chi class together, and then they walk home. And so Jessie actually, she won't go to the Tai Chi class without a volunteer. She feels sort of unsafe in her neighborhood and also just unstable on her feet. So she likes having somebody there. So we're really looking for new volunteers in our area that would like to volunteer for this too, because we're getting we have a wait list of participants that want to use our services, and we haven't even really advertised. And so it's just a really worthwhile program. And speaking of volunteers, these are some pictures of our volunteers. Two of them in the red aprons are Joe and G, and they volunteer with me every week here, helping me with office things and every big event that we have. And so on the bottom left-hand corner used to be our volunteer appreciation lunch. So ACC has over 500 volunteers over the years, and many of them are still very active. We're trying to bring them all back after the pandemic. So you know, we call them the movers and shakers of ACC. Actually, in the very beginning, ACC didn't have any paid staff. It was all volunteers. So really, we say that they're instrumental in the success of ACC. And so we've had lots of different things for fundraising that they've been instrumental in, like a crab feed, golf tournaments. And we also have the big day of giving every year. And so just recently we had our very first Ohana walk, which Ohana in Hawaii means family. If you've ever seen Lilo and Stitch, I say that all the time. And so we had everyone walk around the area, and then they ended up here at the picnic, and we had a huge wide range of volunteers that day. I couldn't even tell you actually how many, but we had over 700 people sign up for the walk, and it was a really big success. But I just had to show you this picture at the bottom right hand corner. This is some of our staff and volunteers here that were on the walk, and I just crack up because my coworker is holding his sign upside down. It's just a funny picture to me, but that was at our Ohana walk. And so we had so many different teams and raised over $50,000 that day. And so contact us anytime. That's the end of my presentation. I'm going to look over some of the questions here in the chat, but on the left hand side is our website, our social media. On the right hand side is our address and my information, my phone number and email. But when I say contact us anytime, I really mean that, because you know, I just gave you 50 billion facts and things that we do. And so we often get people calling us, asking us about services, but you know, all of our staff is really happy to be here and guide you in the right direction wherever your needs are. Even if it's not with us, we have a lot of community partners. As a nonprofit, we partner with local nonprofits so we can just get everyone the services that they need.
Danny, well, thank you so much. While you're looking over the chat, I just want to say a couple of things.
Sure.
I met Danny when Deborah Seiler and I went to visit ACC because we had heard about it. So we actually went to the Park City Drive address, which is where their community center is. And I have been fortunate to actually do the watercolor class in their studio. It's a fabulous studio. I will be doing my Renaissance watercolor classes at their studio because it's so amazing. And they also do in person. So since I've met Danny and toured their facility, I mean, they have an incredible kitchen there because they do food classes and just lots and lots of classes. So if you're interested, and I put this in your email, but I'll send it out to everybody. I've got the recording going. I'll post that on our YouTube channel, and then I'll send out a link to the recording for folks who couldn't join us. But you'll want to check out their website because that's how you sign up for their classes, either in person. They do Zoom classes only, and they do hybrid. And Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your classes, it would be very clear if there's a fee connected to it. I think most of them do not have a fee. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so there used to be a small fee before the pandemic, but with the pandemic happening, our board voted to cancel all of the fees for the classes. So coming up, we might have some, like if there's a cooking class, if you're taking food home, there might be a small fee, but it'll be very clear if there's a price for it. But otherwise, all free. We're just really hoping to reach as many people as possible for our classes and presentations, and a lot of them are educational. So our goal is just to get this great information out to people and have them prepared for different things that they might be approaching as they age.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. And I follow them on YouTube. I use YouTube and I follow ACC. If I missed a class because I had a conflict, it's been recorded, it's posted on YouTube. They have, it's not Tai Chi, but you do a lot of actually movement kinds of classes that where the teacher's going through pretty basic stretching and different exercises. So there's a huge variety. I know Mary Ellen Burns has done some classes for ACC. Christy, I know you've participated in those. So it's a wonderful hidden gem is how I would describe ACC. I did not know it. I did not know about it at all. And so I thought, let's partner, with Renaissance and ACC and help spread the word about all of their incredible services. So I know, Danny, you've been able to look at chat. Why don't you go ahead and answer any of those questions?
Sure. Thanks, Kat. Thanks for speaking so highly of us. Yeah, we're really happy to spread the word to anybody that wants to participate. So some of them, I'm going to take, I took down the questions. If I don't know all the specifics for the Meals on Wheels, then I can send you an email, Kathy, so you can address them too. And we can get that answer out. So I'll send an email out with that. But Sandy, I did talk about the rides to doctor's offices and dental offices, but feel free to elaborate if there's anything else, because I just did a very general description of that.
And Danny, your website has some detail too, right?
It
so
does.
If folks go to the accsv.org website, they'll get more information.
Yes. And then so always, I think a lot of people, it might be the best to just call us, because we have staff here, especially for the rides program. We have staff here throughout the day that are available to answer very specific questions about the rides program. But eligibility is within a 10-mile radius of ACC for the rides. So that's one of the bigger, more common questions. And then Christy, you said when did you change the meaning of ACC, and what was your motivation for doing that? And that's a really good question. And so it was just a few years ago, actually, and we still get so many questions asking us if we serve people who are not Asian American. So that was the first motivation, because we very much do serve everybody of all backgrounds, and that was just our origins. And so, throughout my whole life, I'm from this area. We've always known it as the Asian Community Center. And my parents actually said, "When did you change it? You should be telling everybody you changed it." And I said, "We did." So, we just really want to get the word out. But the main thing too is we want to reach different populations that are also in need. I mean, just a little down the road, they don't know who we are. And so we're really going to be pushing for marketing a community of caring and being very clear about that. Because, as the Asian Community Center, if I were from the outside, I would assume you only served a certain demographic of people. So that was the motivation behind that. And Anne, I'm not at the moment for low-income seniors finding affordable housing. That has been in the talks about wanting to do that in the future, but we do often have partner associations that do help with low-income housing. And so we ourselves do not provide that, but we are going to be partnering with with another organization. We just got a grant for it. We have a care coordinator. And so this person will be designated to take these calls. Like, say someone's calling us for affordable housing, they will have the resource to provide that to them. So it's like we're a resource center as well. So that's the that's the goal there. But ourselves, we don't have any resource for that from ACC. And then so for the Meals on Wheels, the eligibility is on the website, but I'll answer that question and email that to Kathy, and especially the specific questions about the frozen lunches. I believe though that they stopped doing frozen lunches and did hot lunches because they wanted it to be fresher and have better quality of food. So I believe that was the motivation behind the change from frozen lunches. But if, you know, maybe Anne, we can connect through Kathy, and I can connect you with someone at Meals on Wheels so we can get your friend some help. And Sandy, I don't know if there's an agency similar to us in East Sac. There's a lot of senior living facilities all over that do some of our services. But you know, we're sort of unique in the sense that we have a community center with all of our activities and different programs, along with our facilities that are around the area. So it's hard to say it's similar to us, but I would say reaching out to your local senior living facility to see what their services are. You probably look at their website because they'll show their programs. A lot of them do hold activities like ours, like classes and educational things and painting classes such as that. So there's some similarities. And then one question is, do you have case management services to help low-income senior identify how to meet their needs? In a way, yes. So for case management, we do, but it's mostly for our caregiver respite program. So if they happen to be a caregiver, then we do have case management. But outside of that, that is our only MSW social worker that works in our facility for that. And then also we have social workers and caseworkers that are in Meals on Wheels. But so just depending on the need, we can meet some of the needs. But there are, again, partner organizations that we have to meet different needs that we don't provide. And so I think it's just safe to refer people over, and we can usually have a resource for them past that. And then same thing for the Fair Oaks area. I think I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But I would look for senior services. Again, senior living communities, a lot of them have things where people from the outside are open to it, and it's available for the general community. And so some of them they do only have it for the residents depending on the size, but I would say that there's not a lot of community centers with that. But in our Pocket Greenhaven area, I know in the Elk Grove area, there's Elk Grove Senior Center that has a lot of services in that area. And so I would say senior center is the thing to look out for, but no one we partner with, at least in the Fair Oaks area that I know of so far. And I think that's it for the chat. Did anyone want to unmute themselves and have any comments or questions?
Danny, why don't you stop sharing real quick?
Oh,
So
sure.
I think we've had it up a good amount of time for people to get that. Thank you.
Sure.
And I'm going to stop the recording, but before I do, I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining us. And I'll tell you, one of the things that jumped out, and you and I've talked in detail about what services ACC offers, but I am really interested in the scams presentation in the future for Renaissance. Yes. So I'll be talking with you about that.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna stop the recording, and then folks, maybe you're not as comfortable